Hello everybody and welcome to this new episode of War Thunder. A little bit different this time. We're going to be looking at the new tech trees that have been released by Gaishan on the devlog. It's only dealing with aircraft at the moment, so no tanks at the moment. I'll be going through these I'll try and not too much in depth because there's quite a lot of aircraft here, but just give you a rough sort of idea of what's being added. Now the first plane we'll be looking at is the Sea Gladiator. I won't go into too much depth into it. I believe it is just basically an all Gladiator but with, well, arrestor hooks and other modifications. I don't think there is too much difference. I may be wrong, but I haven't been able to find out any differences between it and the normal land-based Gladiator. Second aircraft on here, the Fulmar Mark II. Now this was a plane, it would be quite a low tier plane I believe. It was a monoplane that was so not like the Swordfish at the moment. Had 8 303 machine guns, could carry 2 100-pound bombs, or 2 250-pound bombs, and occasionally had a tail gunner, just a standard 303 machine gun again, and it had about top speed of 272 miles, I believe. I'm sort of going by Wikipedia and books that I've got, but obviously not all of the books have all of the aircraft. I wasn't able to find the Fulmar Mark II in it. So I'm just sort of going by Wikipedia articles for the Fulmar at the moment. My apologies, but it should be quite accurate for what we're doing. Now the next on the list is the Sea Hurricane Mark IB and the Sea Hurricane Mark IC. Now, like with the Sea Gladiator, the Sea Hurricane Mark IB is, I believe, a Hurricane Mark I with arrestor hooks and other modifications. So not too different to the not too different to the Hurricane Mark One. The Sea Hurricane Mark IC, I believe, is again has the standard modifications, but also has 4 cannons. I haven't really been able to find too much information about it, so I'm going to assume they're 20mm cannons. But these were mainly to be used on the armed merchant carriers. They were basically aircraft carriers that were to help escort the convoys. Mainly to deal with the condors that the Germans would send out, I'm assuming, or the other aircraft. Because they weren't I don't think aircraft are too much of a threat compared to the U-boats, but obviously it must have been quite a bit of a problem, hence they wouldn't have gone to the bother of producing Sea Hurricanes. So again, I'm guessing these will be fairly low tier, at least the Hurricane Mark 1B. So hopefully, I'm not at the moment. It seems like Gaishan are with these 3 aircraft. It seems like Gaishan are maybe thinking of putting more carrier maps in, so to make these aircraft to allow the British to sort of take part in them. I don't think Britain really has any aircraft carrier maps at the moment, so I'm hoping based on these few aircraft here it will change. So now the next plane on our list is the Barracuda Mark II, which, if my sources are correct, was the first all-metal plane for the fleet air arm, built to replace the Fairy Swordfish and the Fairy Albacore, which are obviously getting a bit long in the tooth by the time. I believe it was armed with 2 303 machine guns in the rear of the cockpit and could carry 1 aerial torpedo or 6 250-pound bombs. So quite a bit of firepower bomb-wise. It seems more similar to a Japanese B5N2, but with a lot more bomb load. So that'll be quite interesting to play, I suppose. I think it would be one of the first sort of torpedo aircraft other than the B5N2 to really not have any armament, along with some of the other planes on here. So that'll be quite interesting to see when it comes. Now next on our list is the Seafire Mark IB and the Seafire Mark IIB. Now these were Spitfires that were sort of converted to be, well, naval aircraft carriers. I think the Seafire Mark IB was converted from Spitfire VBs. So 2 20mm cannons and 4 7.7mm machine guns. Now the original VB Spitfire, or Spitfire VB, had a speed of about 370 miles per hour, or maximum speed. So now I don't know if the Seafire Mark 1B will have that, because obviously it's been converted, it's got arrestor hooks and all the other sort of things you need for carrier operations. So it may be a bit slower, maybe handled a bit different. Not entirely sure. You could probably tell Naval Air Arm aircraft aren't exactly my speciality. I've only really started looking into them when this tech tree was released. So next, the Seafire Mark II B. Now, I wasn't really able to find any information on the Seafire Mark II B. I don't think it would be too much different to the Seafire Mark I-B. It's only yeah, my apologies. I just could not find anything about the Mark II B. I found lots of other variants of the Seafire, just not that particular variant. So my apologies for that. But I'm guessing it's not going to be too much different to the Seafire Mark I-B. Maybe it will have better armament. Maybe it was been slightly upgraded. It was better for carrier operations. Honestly, I have no idea. But I'll try and get back to you with more information on that if I can at some point. Now, the next on our list is the Firebrand TF Mark IV. I believe this is the Blackburn Firebrand. It was armed with 420mm Hispano cannons, could carry 16 RP3 rockets, two 2,000-pound bombs, or one torpedo, and had a max speed of about 342 miles an hour. Now, its first flight was in 1942, but because of slow development, I believe it was intended as a fighter and it didn't work out, and it didn't get introduced until after the war, so sometime late 1945. Only a few hundred were built and it ended up being withdrawn in 1953. I don't think it was ever used in combat. Like I said, it was meant to be a fighter, but it was ended up used as a strike aircraft instead, so not entirely sure how it would work out. I suppose it would be good for taking out quite large ships. It's got 20mm cannon, so it can easily fend for itself if attacked. So not entirely sure how it will be used. I mean, like I said, it will be just for taking down large targets, I suppose. So it'll probably need an escort, but it could look after itself if needed to. Probably a higher tier aircraft. But well, we'll have to wait and see when it comes out. But I'm betting it'll be a high tier aircraft, especially since it wasn't introduced till after the war, even though it was developed about midway through the war. Now, the next on our list is the Firefly F Mark V, or the Fairy Firefly. Now, this was a carrier aircraft again, used during the war this time, unlike the Blackburn Firebrand. It wasn't actually retired until the 1960s, I believe, by some nations. The Netherlands, I believe, used them in Indonesia. It was armed with 420mm Hispano cannon, could carry 8 RP3 rockets or two 2,000-pound bombs, and had a maximum speed of 316 miles an hour. It's quite similar to the Blackburn Firebrand. I'm guessing it'll be a lower tier because it actually flew during the war. Although, like I said, they're quite similar, so I suppose it could be higher up in the tiers, but then you don't want two aircraft quite similar to each other in armament. So I'm guessing it'll be a lower tier, but again, we'll have to sort of wait and see. Now, the next on our list is the I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, the Wyvern S Mark IV. Now, this was a turboprop aircraft, so after the war, it was armed with 420mm Hispano cannons, like the other air, and could carry 16 RP3 rockets, one torpedo, or up to 3,000 pound worth of bombs and mines. Now, I doubt we'll be seeing the mines in the game, unfortunately, but quite a large payload, quite a multi-purpose aircraft, really. Could carry rockets, bombs, torpedoes. There aren't too many aircraft that can do all three of those, or if any. Assuming they add all of those weapons into the game. I remember the Fairy Swordfish only recently could actually start carrying bombs, which was something it could do right at the beginning of the war. Now, these aircraft served in the Suez Crisis, if I remember correctly. I'm not entirely sure how well they did. I think they were withdrawn during the 1950s, not long after. So either they were replaced. I'm guessing they were replaced by jet aircraft. Quite surprising they were kept by the Fleet Air Arm for so long. Before I forget, it has a top speed of 383 miles an hour. Sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier at the beginning of this bit of explaining this aircraft. I'm guessing this will be a high tier plane. I'm not sure whether it will be tier 4 or tier 5. I mean, it was introduced in 1946. Actually, that was about the same time as the Bearcat, so probably a tier 4 aircraft, actually. Tier 5, I'm not sure how well it would compete against jets, so yeah, I'm assuming it'll be Tier 4, no, don't hold me to that. Let's move on to the next aircraft. Now, the next aircraft on our list is the Seafire Mark 17, the Seafire F Mark 45. They've gone from Roman numerals to normal numerals. I'm perfectly okay with that. Couldn't find an awful lot of information on the Seafire Mark 17. It was based on a previous model, the Spitfire Seafire Mark 15. I believe this is a late war aircraft, so it uses the Griffin engines. I'm not entirely sure on armament. I think it has a teardrop canopy. The Seafire F Mark 45 is, I believe it's quite similar, but has extra fuel tanks. My apologies for not getting too much in depth. I haven't been able to find much information on the Seafires. Well, they've got lots of information on the internet about it, but not on particular variants. So my apologies there. I'll try and find out more if I can. But at the moment, I'm afraid I can't really add much to these two aircraft or the other Seafires. Now, the next aircraft on our list are the Seafury F Mark X, the Seafury FB Mark XI. I'm guessing the FB stands for fighter bomber and F for fighter. Now, these were introduced after the war and were used in the Korean War, where I believe the Seafury was able to shoot down a North Korean jet. So, pretty successful aircraft, I'm guessing. Obviously replaced by jets again, like E.R.A aircraft. This was actually, I think, the last propeller aircraft in the Royal Navy, and one of the fastest propeller-driven aircraft in the world, I believe. Although I'm guessing the two Pulov-95 Russian bombers are probably quite a bit faster than them. Before I get sidetracked, better carry on with this bit. I found specifications of the Seafury FB Mark 11. Didn't find the specifications for the Mark 10. I'm guessing they're not going to be too much different. The Seafury Mark 11 had a top speed of about 460 miles an hour, so pretty fast. I think most of the other aircraft on here only go about 300 or so miles an hour, or even less. And it had 420mm Hispano cannons, could carry 12 rockets or 2,000 pounds worth of bombs. So pretty good aircraft. This will probably be a higher tier aircraft again. Whether it will go against jets, possibly. I mean, like I said, they were used in the Korean War. They did shoot down a MiG-15. So that's possible, but again, we have to see what Gaijin do with that, what battle rating it gets. It'd probably be the Seafury F Mark X that would be dealing with in the higher tiers, although I suppose they could both go in the same tier, with one providing bombing support, one doing fighter support. But again, we have to see what Gaijin decide. Now, the next aircraft on our list is the Seahawk F1. This was, I believe, Hawker Company's first jet that they produced. Had its first flight in 1947, but didn't actually fly till 1953. So I'm guessing it was sort of brought in because it had actually flown in 1947. I'm guessing the F1 means it's going to be an early production unit, so may not be as good as it was when fully introduced. Like many other aircraft at the time, it was retired not that long after being introduced. It served in the Suez Crisis, if I remember, and was phased out not long after. Obviously, a time of large technological change. Planes becoming obsolete relatively quickly. So, yeah, let's get on to the specification. It was armed with 420mm Hispano cannons and was powered by the Rolls-Royce, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, Nene jet engine, which gave it a top speed of about 600 miles an hour, well, 599, but we'll just round it up for easiness. Slight fact, the Nene engine was actually used to power the F9F Panther, and well, even worse for Britain, they actually gave it to the Soviet Union as a sort of goodwill gesture before the Cold War got going too much, and more embarrassingly, the Soviets reverse engineered it and quickly developed engines which they used in their MiG-15s. I was watching a documentary the other day, and there was a bit of a joke about how the biggest British contribution in Korea was with the MiG-15. So, just a little historical fact while there. I'm guessing this will be obviously Tier 5 aircraft. I haven't unlocked jets, so I don't know what what sort of speeds and armament are used in those sort of tiers. I believe the Americans mainly use the machine guns, and Russians use quite heavy caliber weapons. So I'm guessing the 20mm will sort of feel a little, sort of be a best of both worlds, high power but accurate. I'm guessing it'll be quite fast as well compared to those aircraft, or at least be able to keep up, like sort of be about the same. But like I said, I haven't really unlocked yet, so I'm just sort of speculating here. So let's move on to the next aircraft, the Seavenom FAW-20. Now, the Seavenom FAW-20 was first introduced. Well, its first flight, well, the Seavenom's first flight in general was the in 1951. So it just scrapes in through the deadline of 1953. I believe that's the cut-off point. Was used in the Suez Crisis, like other aircraft on here at the time, and was also involved in the Cyprus emergency, bombing E.R.A at the time, in 1958, I believe. Its specifications, it could go about 575 miles an hour, so a bit slower than the Seahawk F1. It was armed for 4 20mm cannons, Hispano cannons, could carry 2 1,000-pound bomb and 8 60-pound RP3 bomb rockets. One thing I did notice, it apparently has a crew of 2. I don't know if one's meant to be a navigator or something, but I'm not sure how they'll fit into the aircraft. I doubt there'd be much effect, but just sort of an interesting fact I noticed. Now the last aircraft on the Royal Navy list is the Attacker FB Mark II, or otherwise known as the Supermarine Attacker. This was the Fleet Air Arm's first jet fighter, introduced in 1951, but having its first flight in 1946. It never actually saw any service. I'm assuming it was introduced too late for career and was actually phased out in 1946. Sorry, 1954. The first flight was in 1946. So, like I said earlier, huge technological change. Only 3 years of service. This was more of a traditional fighter-only aircraft, only being armed with the 4 20mm Hispano cannons, and could do about 509 miles an hour. So, almost as fast as the Seahawk, which was 599. I'm guessing this will be again tier 5. Seems like a quite nice aircraft. I'm sure it'll be well used by the British players or those going up the British tree. Can't wait to see some of these Royal Navy aircraft in general. There'll be a huge addition to the game. Something that they've been sorely lacking. Like I said, Britain hasn't really got carrier maps, but hopefully Gaijin is hoping to change this. Many of these are not much different to their land counterparts, so I'm hoping they'll be doing maybe some sort of like convoy protection type missions, like protect the convoy from German attackers, something like that, just to sort of add a bit of flavour to the game. So I'm definitely looking forward to them. Now we move on to the Royal Air Force. Only 2 planes being added, I believe, both Hurricanes, the Mark IIC and the Mark IV. Now the Mark IIC is quite interesting because this is, I believe, the point when it was decided it was going to be more of a ground attack aircraft. It was becoming quite inferior to German fighters. It had 4 20mm cannons and could carry a 500-pound or 250-pound bomb. So that'll hopefully spice up the ground attack aircraft for Britain. The Hurricane Mark IV. Now again, carrying on with the ground attack, new ground attack role it was given, could carry 2 bombs. Not entirely sure what size bomb. No, I'm guessing there'll be the 250-pound or 500-pound bombs. 2 40mm cannons, or 8 RP3 rockets. Now, interestingly, I've while looking at the wiki page, apparently with the rockets, they were limited to about 205 miles an hour, which is well, ridiculously slow. It did have armor plating as well, which would also explain the loss of speed. But so I'm guessing these aren't going to be able to really protect themselves. I'm not sure what other armament they have. I'm guessing it's going to be similar to the Mark IIC with 20mm cannons. But if the being 205 miles per hour is true, that's going to be they're going to need a lot of escorting. They're going to be basically the British version of the Ju-87Gs. if they have the 40mm cannons. With the other armament, will make them more deadly. But if they're that slow, then not particularly looking forward to them that much, if I'm honest, unless they're quite low tier, which I doubt they will be. Now, gone away from the single seat fighters, going to the twin engine fighters. Let's start with the Blenhiem MK IF. Now, this is actually one of my favourite bombers. Probably along with the Beaufort, my favourite bomber. It was my first aircraft that I actually maxed out. All of the attachments that you could buy for it. I don't know why I've always just liked the aircraft. I remember in one of the E.R.A series, I think it was Birds of Prey. On the Xbox, I was actually banned from using it because the tail gunners were just too effective. Aside from that, let's get back to the main point. This was our night fighter variant with four 303 machine guns in a sort of little gun pod underneath, I believe. Now, it could carry radar, but like other radar carrying aircraft, I doubt this is going to make much of a difference. Now, I'm not sure if there was any speed changes from the Mark IF. I can't find any listed. All the specifications for the Mark IV, which I believe is already in the game. We've also got the Blenhiem Mark IV F. Again, similar to this, four 303 machine guns underneath the fuselage, so not that much difference between them. Maybe this one will be faster and this one slower. Not sure why they've put them in. They seem quite similar. I don't know if they keep their turrets either. Can't really find much mention of it. I'm assuming they'll lose them if they were fighter aircraft, but again, we'll have to sort of wait and see. Now, the next on our list is the Mosquito F Mark II. I believe this is similarly armed to the FB Mark VI with four 20mm cannons and four 7.7mm machine guns. However, if the Wikipedia article on it is correct, which it may well not be, but again, I haven't been able to find much information in my books about it. It should be a bit faster, about 360 miles an hour. The one in game does about 331. Other than that, I'm not sure what differences there are. Maybe it'll be lower tier. Although if it does have better performance, that would suggest it wouldn't. Not really sure what to make of this. So again, I have to take a wait and see attitude with it while we move on to the next aircraft. Now, the next aircraft on our list, the Welkin F Mark I, was introduced in 1942 in response to Ju-86 reconnaissance flights. Apparently, there was a bit of a worry the Germans were going to start high-altitude bombing of Britain again, but as we all know, that didn't really work out. There were bombing raids, I believe, just before, not that long before D-Day, and the Germans lost most of their bombers, but I don't believe these were high-altitude bombing they expected to happen. It was quite bad for the Germans, because obviously they didn't have those bomber aircraft to oppose the landings of Normandy, so they lost out quite badly there. But like I said, because those bombing raids didn't happen, as I expected, only a few of the Welkins were actually produced. It was armed with four 20mm Hispano cannons and could go about 385 miles an hour. I'm not sure where this will go. I'm guessing it'll be able to climb quite well. According to the wiki page, about 20 meters a second. I'm not sure how that compares to other fighters. I don't really pay attention to them statistics, specifications while I'm playing War Thunder, but so I'm not sure how that really compares to other fighters. But again, probably a higher tier aircraft, quite well armed. If it can climb as well, if it is a good climber, be good for dealing with the bombers, B-17s, E.R.A.2s, Wellingtons, Lancasters. You can deal with those planes quite easily. It's just getting up to their height, and so I'm hoping that will help stop any bomber rushes. So probably quite a useful aircraft to have. Now, the last aircraft on the twin-engine fighters is the Hornet F3. It was a development of the Mosquito with the wooden construction techniques and presumably other lessons learned from the Mosquito, but wasn't actually introduced until after the war. As far as I can tell, it was only really used in Malaysia against the communist insurgency there. Not sure what they're going to do with tiering. It has a maximum speed of about 472 miles an hour. Four 20mm Hispano cannons, as with all the other aircraft. Could carry 8 RP3 rockets or 2 £1,000 bombs. So quite a powerful aircraft, pretty fast. I'm guessing this will be a higher tier aircraft. How well it will actually do, I'm not entirely sure. It'll probably be able to hold its own, but it depends if it gets in jet games. If it gets in jet games, it'll probably be quite badly defeated. I have to just sort of see how it goes, really. See what guys can do with it in tiering. Now we get to well, my more favourite areas with planes, the bombers and the flying boats. I've always been a bit of a bomber person when it came to War Thunder. Unlocking all my bombers, maxing them out as much as I can. We'll start with the flying boats first, just to get it out of the way. The Sunderland Mark III. Now this was introduced in 1938, so before the war. It was quite a heavily armed aircraft from the looks of it, with no less than 16 303 machine guns and two 12.7mm machine guns, as well as, well, the Wikipedia article, it's got so many, it can carry so many bombs and so many different variations of bombs and torpedoes and mines. It doesn't even have a specific list for it. So from reading my book, the might as well say the name, World War II: The Directory of Weapons, which has finally come in use right at the end of the video. It seems it can carry about 2,250 kilograms worth of bombs, mines or depth charges, or about £5,000. So quite heavily armed. Well, ridiculously heavily armed. I mean, 16 303 machine guns and 12 Browning machine guns. And this was introduced before the war, so it may be a low tier aircraft. This may be what the H6K used to be back in the beginning of the game, or Catalina. Well, it would be a combination of both. The H6K was ridiculously heavily armed, and the PBY Catalina was ridiculously hard to shoot down and ridiculously overloaded with bombs. This might be a combination of the two, so I'm wondering how Gaijin are going to deal with that. I'm definitely looking forward to the Sunderland Mark III. I believe it was actually called the Flying Porcupine by the Germans. Was due to how many weapons it carried. But yeah, well, I haven't mentioned the top speed, which is about 210 miles an hour, which not too unexpected considering how much it's carrying. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that aircraft. But let's move on to the bomber. First of all, we'll start off with the Hampden Mark I. This is a pre-war bomber, introduced in 1938. Quite similar to the Blenhiem and Beaufort, from what I can understand. Maybe lower tiered. Its specifications are maximum speed 247 miles an hour, £4,000 worth of bombs. Not sure if that's a misprint or because the Blenhiem is only listed as taking £1,000 of bombs, but no, I'm looking at my book as well. That's got the same listed bomb amount of bombs that it can carry, £4,000. So, well, that's quite surprising. It would explain why it's so slow, I suppose, compared to the Blenhiem. Good. Well, actually, it's quite similar speed to the Blenhiem, according to my book I'm reading. I'm not sure how they're going to deal with that. They surely can't give it that bomb load. That would be ridiculously overpowered in lower tiers. I'm guessing you can't really put it up in the higher tiers because it's only armed with one nose-mounted 7mm machine gun and something like 3 to 5 7.7mm machine guns, defensive armament, depending on what variant you're looking at. Not sure how they're going to deal with that. We'll have to wait and see how they do that. That's going to be ridiculously overpowered. If that's in a lower tier for aircraft. Yeah, I'm quite shocked at that. If I'm honest. But let's leave it for the moment and move on to the next aircraft. The next aircraft on our list is the E.R.A. Manchester, which you can. If you look at a picture of it, you can quite easily see the resemblance to the Lancaster. It's a twin engine bomber, but other than that, it does look remarkably similar, which isn't surprising because I believe the Lancaster sort of built on the Manchester, but it wasn't that successful an aircraft itself. Its engines weren't that great, from what I understand. was in service from November 1940 to only 1942. Some of the other aircraft, well, the Hampden, which we were talking about earlier, was in service for longer. So obviously wasn't that successful. Had a top speed of about 265 miles an hour. Had 8 303 machine gun. Same as the Lancaster, 2 in the front, 4 in the tail, 2 on the dorsal turret, and could carry about £10,000 worth of bombs, which based on the Lancaster, I don't think we're going to get all of those bombs, but can always hope. Not particularly looking forward to that aircraft. I mean, it doesn't sound that great. I do like bombers, but it just seems like a bit of a poor man's Lancaster at the moment. So not too much looking forward to it. But any bombers for the British will be welcomed, obviously. Next on our list is the Halifax Mark III. This was actually in service at the same time as the Lancaster. So about 2 4-engine bombers. From what I understand, the Halifax was more of a multi-purpose aircraft, unless I'm getting mixed up with the Sterling. Able to perform more roles than the Lancaster. The Lancaster was mainly a night bomber, whereas the Halifax could perform other roles such as maritime patrols, transport aircraft for paratroopists. Like I said, I might be getting mixed up with the Sterling. Well, I'll be dealing with that in a minute, so I'll sort of check then. Now this had a top speed of 282 miles an hour, so getting a bit faster, like compared to some of the bombers from before. Its armament was done a bit differently. It has £13,000 worth of bombs, which is probably not going to get, but defensive armament wise, it had 4 303 machine guns in the tail and 4 in the dorsal turret, but only 1 in the nose. Not sure why they did that. It seems like they were experimenting a bit, maybe. Not sure why. Maybe because it was a different company, they were taking a different route to E.R.A. But yeah, quite seems like an unusual aircraft. Doesn't seem that special. Doesn't seem particularly bad. We'll have to see how this aircraft turns out, I suppose. And while we move on to the next one. Next aircraft on the list is the Sterling Mark III, also known as the Short Sterling. Now, from what I understand, it wasn't. It was sort of hampered, according to the book I'm reading, by the fact it wasn't able to really get to an optimum operating altitude of about 20,000 feet, due to too short a wingspan, and bomb bay was too small to carry the larger bombs. But apart from that, it was able to fulfill a role as a glider, tug, and resupply aircraft during the war, so it turned out okay in the end. Had a top speed of 282 miles an hour. Standard defensive armament as the Lancaster, 2 in the front, 2 in the dorsal turret, 4 303 machine guns in the back, and could carry £14,000 worth of bombs. So again, I doubt we're going to see them in game, or that many in game, based on the Lancaster. So like the Halifax, not exactly looking special, but it doesn't seem bad either. So again, looking out for it, but not particularly excited about getting it. Now we move on to the famous Lancaster. We've got the Lancaster Mark III in the game at the moment. I've been looking up online and in my book, and it doesn't really seem like there's much difference between the Lancaster Mark III or, well, any of the other variants. With the Lancaster Mark, I'm not sure if that's meant to be the Mark 1 or just Mark. I don't know if that's a typo. I will assume it's meant to be Mark 1. These were apparently the Manchester airframes that were converted on the production lines to Lancaster Mark 1 standard. Because like I said earlier, they were quite similar aircraft. Standard defensive armament, 2 7.7s at the front, 2 on the top, dorsal turret, 4 at the back. It seems that the Lancaster Mark I was actually in production throughout the whole war. It was renamed the B Mark I in 1945, but it seems like that was the definitive version with the... I'm not sure what these other Lancasters... I'm assuming they were for the more specialised job. Looking at my book, it seems there was only 301 Mark IIs actually completed, so I'm not been able to find much information on it. Although it seems it was fitted with different engines and had an unofficial modification of a 20mm or 50 caliber machine gun on ventral turret, or not sure if it was really a turret. Apparently it was a bit of an unofficial modification. So I'm not sure if they would have actually had a turret or whether it was just a sort of ad hoc attempt to try and keep some firepower underneath the Lancaster. It was to stop the I'm going to mispronounce this Scrag music. The upwards firing guns that you get on the Dornier one of the Dornier bombers, not bombers, night fighters. Basically, it fires upwards. So you can, instead of having to point your nose at the bomber, you just fly underneath, aim up, and just fire from underneath, and they're not able to really shoot back. But yeah, it doesn't seem like there's much difference between all of these variants. Like I said, this was more of an unofficial modification for the Mark II, so I'm not sure how much difference there's going to be between the two. Sorry I couldn't get into more information, but just wasn't able to find much on these different variants. And last but not least, we come to the Canberra B Mark II, which was a jet bomber produced by Britain and was pretty successful. It was only retired by the Royal Air Force in 2005, I believe. And if I remember, NASA actually still have some for performing tests. So this was introduced in 1951. So this is one of the most longest lived aircraft ever, probably. So definitely can't wait for this to be in the game. Let's get to the specification. Now I should warn, the specification I have been able to find was sort of B Mark VI, but it doesn't seem much difference between the Mark II and the Mark VI though, so my apologies there are differences, but like I said, I've been having a bit of trouble finding different information on the various, variants. It had a top speed of 580 miles an hour. Some of the aircraft up here were barely 590, so almost as fast as the fighters. Could carry 4 20mm Hispanos or 2 7.7mm machine gun pods in the rear bomb bay. I don't know why they still kept those 7.7mm machine guns. They are completely useless, but oh well. It could carry 2 unguided rocket pods with 37 rockets, or 2 Matra rocket pods with 16 missiles. Rockets. I believe these were ground-to-ground, air-to-ground rockets. Not an expert on rockets, if I'm honest. Could also carry air-to-surface missiles. That would be seeing them in game. Probably be too. I'm not sure how they'd work, but it might be a bit game breaking for in ground forces. It could carry a total of £8,000 worth of bombs. And last but not least, various different types of nuclear weapons, such as the B-57 and B-43, which I'm guessing we're not going to see in game, unfortunately. Well, that's been a very long video. Thank you for watching the video. I did the video because there wasn't really much of a guide on these aircraft. You may not know what's being added, sort of thing, maybe more interested. Guide you have put a little summary of 3 of the aircraft, which obviously isn't much, so I decided to put more information about these aircraft myself. Thanks for watching. Please add any information you found that I haven't found. I know I've probably missed off a lot of information. Thanks for leave feedback, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you enjoy these type of videos, and I'll be doing more videos on the Japanese and Soviet tech trees and German and American tech trees as well when they come out. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.